Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another Creative Sim for the Disney Save. Today we're going to be working on Kristoff for our little frozen family that we've had going on here. I've previously created Anna and Elsa, and of course I know a lot of you are going to ask, we are going to be actually doing Olaf. I made him on Twitch the other day. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do it in a video. I actually have to edit the footage and sort of see if I'm going to make it into a video. I could just end up posting some pictures of how he turned out, but I recommend you go check out the Twitch VOD. It's called Do You Want to Build a Snowman if you want to watch the Creative Sim a little bit early for that, especially because I'm considering maybe not making it a video. The only reason is because it's the first time I've ever done a child sim in its own Creative Sim video, and I'm just not sure how long it's going to be. So we'll see if that ends up coming out. If it does, you'll probably see it towards the later part of the week. But today we have Kristoff and of course Sven, who will be included at the later part of the video in a little mini clip where we go into Create a Pet and do sort of like a dog version of Sven. Now, I do want to let you guys know, I have been breaking up the Frozen Creative Sims a little bit. Usually I would do this together as one big family and one big Creative Sim video, but because I've been working on the Arendelle Castle in the background, I felt like it was okay to sort of break them up. And these are three really big important characters that many people love, and I've chosen a new thumbnail style recently that doesn't allow me to put multiple characters on a thumbnail, so I felt like it was almost better to maybe just spread out their videos a little bit and focus on each character more in depth for their own video. I won't do that all of the time. I think sometimes you might click on a video that says it's one character, but there will be a few more included, especially if some of them are side characters. But between Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff, they are all very branched out characters, well constructed. A lot of people love them, have their favorites, so I wanted to each give them their own time to shine. So for Kristoff today, his aspiration is friend of the animals. He is an unflirty, freegan dog lover, and that's a really cool combination, I feel. Unlike any that we've had in the save file so far, dog lover was chosen because, of course, we ended up having to make Sven into a dog, so it sort of lends its hand to that. Freegan is the newer trait that comes with eco lifestyle, and it's a really fun trait that makes your Sims feel like everything to do with being eco-friendly and conscious of the environment and their neighborhoods and their lifestyle is super important, and I feel like that does sort of lean into Kristoff a little bit. And Unflirty was fun because I think, if anything, Kristoff is one of the rare male Disney characters that we get that just doesn't immediately fall head over heels for their significant other, or rather is more of like a character that could have potentially ended up being a friend. He doesn't really know how to communicate well with humans. He doesn't really know how to express things to Anna. I don't even think in the first movie he really realizes that he's falling for her until way later on, and it's sort of a part of his character. So he's not the best when it comes to emotions, but I think that's one of the things that really makes him very unique. His career is going to be a freelancer as a crafter, so he'll probably craft things that are outside of ice, because ice is not really an option in The Sims. However, we would obviously like to give him some if we can. If I can find anything in the game that is craftable of ice. I don't believe there is anything, but if you do know, let me know in the comment section down below. But regardless, I feel like he could sort of sell things as a crafter, and then he's also a part of the royal family, so it sort of could end up just being a hobby. But I don't foresee Kristoff being the type of person that if he was to get into a relationship or marry into higher status, he would just completely quit his job. I think that he actually really enjoys his job. Orphaned at a young age, Kristoff prefers the company of more magical beings, specifically the trolls that helped raise him. In his younger years, he had a negative outlook on humans and human life. Some of this still stays with him in his preferences to craft things himself, hunt for food, and use nature to the best of his ability. He's grown to love at least a few humans, however, most importantly, his girlfriend Anna. Kristoff has a fascination with ice and sells ice-crafted items for his work, amongst other things. He's as tough as nails in facing the harsh winter climate surrounding Arendelle, but a bit of a softie once you get to know him better. He's extremely protective over those he loves, especially Anna, but he's also not afraid to tell anyone, even Anna, what he thinks. His best friend is his animal companion Sven, whom he's known since childhood. Currently, he is very in love with Anna, focused on his little family inside Arendelle Castle, and even considering proposing to his longtime girlfriend. Kristoff is a master ice craftsman, not quite as good as Elsa, but she has a little bit of magical help. Outside of ice, he's pretty crafty in all things. He would be a great person to be stuck surviving in the woods with. Not afraid of nature, but rather prefers it. Kristoff also loves sleds, and he can tell you all about any make and model of sled in Arendelle. It was decided not to give Kristoff any fame. I think he would sort of prefer it that way, but it could change. I do tend to give all of my royal sims, any prince or princess, some kind of fame, and I don't think he's technically considered a Disney prince, but the line of what is sort of blurred compared to being officially a part of the Disney Princess Club. So we'll see, but I think maybe we would just keep it a little bit more relaxed for him. I think that he would like that very much. Now, when it comes to his actual design, I think that he came out super great. I'm really happy with the result at the end of the day. It was definitely a struggle to get there. Male sims are not as easy for me as female ones are, and when it comes to doing some of these bigger, important characters that a lot of people are really attached to, there's always sort of a part of me that gets really nervous that the result is not going to live up to the expectations. I had the same feeling when I did Naveen because he's a very good-looking sim. And male sims, like I said, just not my strongest suit, I feel. So I just feel like the tinge of anxiety whenever I'm creating a male sim, especially when I'm doing it on stream, which has sort of become a little bit of a newer thing for me. And there was definitely a point when I was making him that he didn't quite resemble Kristoff. There were features that were there, but when you looked at him, he didn't have the entire package. And I ended up finding a reference, and there are lots of these. If you've never seen these references, they are amazing. They are basically, there's an artist that creates human or realistic versions of Disney characters, and you might think that that's not something that would be like useful for the Disney save because it's not the reference from the movie. However, I personally find it a lot easier to translate a human into a sim, and there's a lot of like features that I feel like I can pull out of a realistic depiction that you can't in an animated version. So when someone is able and skilled enough to translate the animated version over into a human one, and I'm having a difficult time visualizing it myself, those are great references. They are so well done. They look just like the characters. They make you wonder who would play each character in a movie, and I do think that they are thinking about doing a live action Frozen if they didn't already announce it. Somebody give me more information about that if you know, but I thought I heard something at the last Disney Summit that they were possibly going to be doing a live action Frozen. It'd be really interesting to see who they actually picked for each character. Once we got the face sculpt out of the way and I felt a lot better about it, the biggest problem with male sims is the hair category, because you can make a sim look exactly like their character, I feel, and then if there isn't a proper hair to go with it, you're sort of stuck. And for Kristoff, he just has a very interesting haircut. It has a lot of bangs in the front. It's a little bit longer, but it's not past the shoulders, so a lot of the feminine category hairs wouldn't really work. And then he also wears a lot of hats, which are not the best thing in The Sims. We only really have 2 packs that are dedicated to more of like the winter wear, being Seasons and Snowy Escape. So we don't really have a lot of the clothing that they show in Frozen, and the best I could really do is a beanie. Hats also really change the way that your Sim's hair looks. So at the end of the day, we decided that he would have one hair when he's wearing a beanie and the other when he's not. And I hate to say this because I am so like against the concept of the Star Wars pack, but I do have to also say that the Star Wars pack has come in so handy for the Disney save so far. I think it makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. There's so much in the build and buy that I use in a lot of my more recent builds. And when it comes to the cast, the hairs are new, they're better, they're clean, they're just like better textured than some of the base game ones. We ended up using one here for him, and then it's one of the only packs that offers layered outfits. So for my poor winter Sims, my Mount Komorebi Sims that really need more clothing, it's one of the few packs that offers that. And there's actually a full body outfit from the Star Wars pack that's almost identical to the one that he wears, the layered black look in the first movie. I did give him a second option in a different color that's more reminiscent of the one that he wears in Frozen 2. And then just as like a little bonus, we went and did some of his formal wear from the scene at the end of, I think, the first Frozen movie, where he is, I think this is the end of the first Frozen movie. I can't even remember off the top of my head, but he's wearing a more formal look. And it's very colorful. It's very fun. We ended up going with the vampire's full body suit. It's so unique and very Kristoff, but I think that it came together quite well. I do go ahead and put outfits for each of the categories, by the way. I don't always include them in the video, mostly because I don't actually always do them when I'm live on Twitch. It's something that I like to maybe focus on while I'm by myself at the end. However, they will always, of course, have all outfits, and if I can find references for each of the outfit categories, I absolutely will. And one of the things that's good about Frozen and Frozen 2 is there is no lack of outfit choices. If anything, it's one of the most plentiful. Like, there will be outfits upon outfits available for these characters, whereas some of the ones that we've done in the past, they'll have repeating outfits, they'll have very limited options and color palettes. That's just not the case with these three. I was quite sad that I couldn't give him his little mittens, but it's just one of those things, again, where we just don't have anything like that in the game. And then we have Sven. So of course I would have loved to have been able to make an actual reindeer. We are limited again by the game, but it makes sense to translate Sven into a dog. I have made reindeer before, but I've never made this type of reindeer. Reindeer, typically to me, I would think like very slender deer with antlers. That's what I would think. So when I've made reindeer in the past for like Christmas builds, that's what I've done. And then you pop a little bit of CC antlers on them and they look great. But Sven is not a traditional looking reindeer. He has longer fur, layers. He almost reminds me of like a caribou. And I know that there's a particular name for the type of reindeer that he is. I just don't know what it is. But it wasn't as easy as translating that over. So I decided we would go with a mixed breed dog and just do dog version of Sven and try and match the coloring as best as I could. Keep some of the longer hair textures so he still has that fluffiness to him and make just dog version. So it's not as clean cut when it comes to like the coloring of his face and everything. I sort of got to a point where I was like, I'm going to blend all of this together so it looks a little bit more natural. Maybe tone back the eyebrows a bit because they can be sort of jarring, even though dogs do sometimes have things like that. It's a little bit funny to look at. And I was also using a Funko Pop as the reference when it came to the colors. I feel like Funkos have to work with the company to make sure that they get like Disney approved colors and all of that. So I was pulling color references from that. So if it's a little bit different from the movie, I felt like it was the better option than doing like a bunch of muted grays and tans and all of that. Sven is, I think, an Australian Shepherd mix with, I couldn't even tell you what the other dog is. I picked something that had sort of like a shorter, flatter head and that I could play with the muzzle shape a little bit more and make it as big as possible. And when it comes to the animal characters of the Disney Save, they always, to me, feel a little bit funny. It's kind of just like a joke. Like, I'm not the best at Create a Pet, and I don't even really know what you're supposed to do in a lot of these situations where, like, even when I made, for example, Bullseye, and I basically had to translate a horse over to a dog. He's a little bit funny looking, but there's sort of a charm there. And for characters like Bullseye, if we ever get horses added to the game, it's as easy as just being able to add a horse to Jessie and change Bullseye over into a horse. Very simple. But for Kristoff, he is probably never going to get his proper reindeer other than maybe like the CC version of the save. So we had to do dog version. He came out cute. It's okay. I'm not mad at it. You guys let me know what you think of the whole thing in the comments down below. And just so that you know, something that I am planning to work on this year is the CC version of the save. It's one of my goals this year, along with a website for the Disney Save where everything and all of the characters and information are laid out a little bit more clean cut for people to be able to come and download. You can currently download the Disney Save in its current version on my Patreon for free. You don't have to be a patron to download it. And I believe the link is always listed in my description box. If it's not, I'll try to remember to add it, but I'm pretty sure that it always is. But that's something that I'm planning on working this year. I have quite a bit of other things going on, obviously, and I'm always a little bit behind on my schedule, so it gets pushed and pushed. But the bigger long-term goals is to start working on CC versions of characters, especially my princess characters, and then I'll have versions on the website where you can see side by side what the two versions look like and have lists of custom content for each of the characters. I am going to try to keep it a little bit minimal so that we don't have too much CC to be downloading for every character, but you know how I am. And that is the end of today's video. Let me know what you thought of Kristoff and Sven in the comment section down below. If you would like to see the Disney Save live, join me over on Twitch, follow me, turn notifications on so you can come hang out and work on the Disney Save. I also do Variety Friday. It's so much fun. You guys should come hang out. If you would like to support the Disney Save on Patreon, you can do so by clicking the link in my description box down below or the one at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Hit that little bell icon below to turn on post notifications so you can get updated every single time I post. And I will talk to you all in the next one.